guys. Well, we are going to just dive right into tonight's team call. We have a very, 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 very special guest. We've got about 60 people on the line, and my goal in the next 3 minutes, you guys, is to have over 100. So I want you to grab the flyer, grab the link, send somebody downline, upline, crossline, whatever, and just say, we have the one and only Joel Mcninch. You're late. Get on this call, right? And let's get a few more people to join us. And I want to just kick things off with a absolutely insane week for both teams and do some recognition. So I'm going to start with Team Win. You guys put your clapping hands together for Team Win. Brand new Crystal Director, Tinley Gilbert. Way to go. Brand new Crystal Manager, Emma Lindvay. You guys are amazing. Top enrollers. You guys ready for this? Tinley had 8 enrollments. So good. 7 enrollments, Jen Badowski. 6 enrollments, Ann White. 4 enrollments, Holly Kirsch, and Brian and Jack Callahir. You guys are amazing. Dreamers in Action, brand new Crystal Manager, Dr. Lindsay Regier. Brand new consultant, Jane Hemrich, Katarina Suha, Katie Keck, and Austin Regier. Y'all are amazing. Top enrollers for Dreamers in Action, Jenny Thompson, Kisa Maxwell, Katarina Suha, Austin Regier, Jane Hemrich, Katie Keck, Laura Laurie, Chris Marshall, Kari Andrews, Kimberly Howe, Anna Barthman, Lane Smith, Emily Sutherland, Stephanie Dunn, Sheila Sands, Lindsay Regier, and Jennifer Napoleon. You guys are amazing. So fun. Love to just see everybody crushing it. So before I introduce Joel, I just want to tell you guys a couple things. If you know, go ahead and type in the chat, right? How many weeks left do we have of the February commission month? If you're tracking LIA, you're keeping on track of, hitting your ELB, working on the executive pools, how many weeks left? And if you're a manager or you're a director, start tracking this, right? Work on the skill sets. You just look at all those columns. So when you're executive, you just crush those pools. You guys, I was kind of excited to see the 4-star and above pool shares. That's a little higher than it's been in a while. And then if you guys know, type in the chat. I want you to write in the chat, when is the deadline for Crystal Manager, our first reset date? It's coming up, 2/2, right? What's the day? What's the deadline? We have conflicting answers there. Joel's cheating. Joel's giving you hints. So 26, you guys. We're just coming up on it. So we've got 2 weeks left to hit Crystal Manager, right? 2 with 2. If you are an executive, you got to go all to the ranks if you've never hit manager. But if you're a manager who never went above and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't qualify for this, let me tell you, get ahead of the boat. Make sure you've got at least 2 with 2 actives so that you're on track to then move forward with director and move forward with executive. And the last little thing that I just wanted to tell you, because if you're like, wow, is Jessica ever coming back to lead these team calls? We just had a few little scheduling fun stuff with being able to accommodate our amazing guests on who we reached out to. So I know you're getting me 3 weeks in a row. We had some amazing guests, but then the baton is going back to Jess, and there is an insane lineup of more guest speakers coming. And Jess is going to lead the next 3 weeks. So we're still doing these together. She doesn't have laryngitis. She's not out of the country. It's just that the guests I reached out to worked out for these weeks, and the guests she reached out to worked out for the following. So with no further ado, I'm going to introduce Joel. And I honestly want to tell you how I know him, and then I want to tell you about the bio. So many of you know that over the last year or year and a half, I missed out on trips, pretty much from COVID shutting down to then when we merged with Zija and things opening up, because my husband and I have been in a fertility journey. And then one of the no things for us was Mexico. And so all the trips to the ISODASH and Top Achievers, I didn't go. And that's when a lot of the leaders get to know each other. And that was really one of the first times Isogenics and Zija got to spend time together. So I was at the mastermind in November, and I was very much interested in everything Joel had to say. I respected him. I knew he was seasoned, and I was like, who is this guy? And everybody in my kind of region at the table was like, I do not know Joel. Joel's amazing. And I was like, how would I know who Joel is? Like, where did he come from? And then realized, I was like, oh yeah, I've 18 months. I haven't, been out of the country or, seen all the ISA people. And then he trained at NYKO. And you guys, anyone who sits with me in the row, I pay attention, but I don't take notes. 9.5 years into it, you start to hear some of the same things, and I'm inspired. I was frivolously taking notes, the whole community acronym. I was like, gosh, this is good. Every letter, I was like, what's the next M going to be? What's the next U going to be? I just thought It was amazing. And outside of the wisdom, he's freaking hilarious. And I was sitting next to my good friend Laura Lori, and I was like, oh my gosh, now I get it. I now I understand why everybody's like, Joel Mcninch. And we came back just being like, paid to party. And I'm not sure you're going to catch me in a Denny's anytime soon yet, Joel. I'm still a nutritionist, but outside of that, I've learned so much from you. So here's his bio, you guys. Joel began in the direct selling industry as a college student 30 years ago, and was able to build to the top of 3 companies in his career, all that disappeared on him. He's been building at Isagenix now for 3 years and is so happy to have found his dream company finally to fulfill his legacy. Joel and his wife, Erica, 2 daughters, Emma and Amron, reside in Austin, Texas, and they enjoy anything outdoorsy and just plain old time together. So Joel, I would love to welcome you to the call, say hello, and please tell us your story. Let everybody know like the longer version of who you are, how you got into this, what you're doing, and hear your humor.
Okay, Lauren. Well, thanks for all the kind words, everybody. Appreciate the opportunity to share with you tonight. But yeah, 30 years, I was a college student many moons ago in Michigan, where I'm originally from. And I was going to school and trying to, go to school, get a good job, all the stuff you're supposed to do, because nobody in my family had ever done that. And they all were like broke, So I'm like, okay, I don't want to be broke, so I'm going to go to college and get a good education, blah, 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 all the stuff you're supposed to do. So I was doing that, and I was working full time, trying to pay my way. And a coworker, a guy that I worked with, hit me up for this stuff. And I was like, oh man, I don't know. But what he did, he actually had a check for $400 that he'd earned from that company in a month. And I was at the time blown away by that, because I've never seen anybody earn 2 cents at anything like this. It's always a bunch of, oh, we're going to get rich, and everybody quits and nobody ever does and whatever. So when he showed me that blew my mind, because at the time I was making about $2,000 a month, giving up all my weekends and all my nights and all my spare time to work at this furniture store and sell furniture to try to pay my way through school. So I'm a kid, so I want to like go be with my friends and like talk to girls and do stuff that kids do. I can't do any of that, because I'm like the guy that's working like a slave in a diamond mine, trying to pay my way through college, right? So it's like, it's kind of a miserable existence. I had zero time to do anything else. So I thought, hey, if I could make some money doing this goofy little whatever this guy's doing, I could maybe scale back and have some time, to be like, to go to a party or do something, right? So I started doing that, and I sucked at it really bad. It took me about 7 months to get something going. I made a couple $100 collectively, I think, the first 6 months. I mean, like no money, right? So I'm like dying at this thing. And the reason why is because like, I think everybody I knew was like terrible. I knew a bunch of broke college kids, right? I was a broke college kid. All my circle of influence was like goofballs. And so I realized I had to get out of that circle and find some better people. So the only person I knew at that time that had any credibility, any influence, was my mom. And I had already prejudged her and signed her up as a customer and thought she'd never do it. She's a real estate, too important. She does all this stuff, whatever. So I went back to my mom after I attended my first training, where I kind of learned like, hey, don't prejudge anybody and all that stuff. I said, hey, this is how the business works, Mom, and blah, blah, blah. And she said, hey, I'm too busy to do it. But she goes, I'll like feed you people. Like if you want to put them under me and it makes us both money, I'm like, that we can do. So I started doing that, and my business in over a couple months exploded, because I started working deep. I found some people that were legit from my mom. Those people knew people that were legit and all that stuff. So it's kind of amazing when you get into circles of influence, how your business can change. I had no circle of influence, but what happened is, as I started to earn money, my credibility was boosted, right? Because I had a story now in the business. Everybody's, hey, there's this young guy and he's 20 years old and he's making all this money and blah, blah. So all of a sudden I had a platform, because I started succeeding in the business because of this one little eruption in my business. And so that's when things took off for me, and I was in that company 10 years. I made just over $1 million in 10 years in my 20s, which was pretty good. Back in the 90s and 2000s, making $100,000 a year was like some pretty good money. Actually, it's pretty good money today, to be honest with you. But I was like thinking I was building my dream and going to retire on a beach and building this huge residual income, the promise of direct selling. And that company ended up going out of business. They went bankrupt. They went on the New York Stock Exchange and got bought and sold and bought and sold and bought and sold. Not that the whole thing fell apart. So anyway, I found another company that had a similar, they sold essential services. I've actually never sold products, to be honest with you, because I didn't believe in products like this prior to me knowing any better. So long story short, I did that company for 10 years as well. Made several $1,000,000 in that company. Actually became the #3 money earner globally. And that company got shut down. They had legal problems. I'm like, oh my gosh, right? So I'm pretty good at building up huge things and having them taken away in a flash, you know? So I got approached about this super mix stuff 10 years ago, and I was like, whatever. So I gave my wife the information because she's a nutritionist and she has her master's degree and she's super smart and she reads labels and everything's organic and she doesn't even drink the water if she doesn't know where it came from and blah, blah, blah. And she looked at it and goes, you know what? She goes, this is nutrition for dummies. You should start taking this. This is serious. And I'm like smack, right? Like, what do you mean for dummies? She goes, well, you're not going to do what I do. You're not going to wake up every morning and make the organic, kale juice with fresh turmeric and all that. So you're not going to do all that. And you're not going to eat, you eat gluten and you're going to do, So I'm like, okay, I'm a simpleton. She's like, if you take this stuff, she's like, I think you're going to see big benefit. So that's coming from Obi-Wan Kenobi right there, the nutrition, fanatic, right? So I'm like, okay. So I started taking it and all this stuff, and I started feeling better, like right away. I was 39 years old. I'm 49 today. And I started noticing that my foot wasn't hurting. I had joint pain in my foot, and that was like, wow. So I'm reading, okay, 36 anti-inflammatories in this stuff. Okay, wow. And then I'm starting to slim down, right? Like I'm going from Weeble. I was a, 40 pounds heavier, big, like rotund Weeble looking guy to kind of slimmer, right? I'm starting to lose weight and my cravings for empty calories are going away. And all this stuff's happening to me from flooding my body with the super mix stuff. So collectively in 90 days, I lost 40 pounds, not even trying, didn't go to the gym, didn't do anything, just took the stuff like you're supposed to take it, did this premium tea stuff like you're supposed to, I did the deal. And I'm like, man, I felt awesome. I was the same size I was as a high school senior, as a 39-year-old dude. And I'm like, I am going to go share this from the hilltops, man. So I went out there and started evangelizing and started building this stuff. And I've like literally fell in love with the products. And I started seeing all the results that people were having. Of course, we have the best products here at Isogenics, clinical validation, all that stuff. And I started getting calls from people and they're like, oh my gosh, I got to tell you about my husband, or I got to tell you about myself or my sister. And like people are like crying and stuff, like emotionally moved at the impact these products made in their lives. Now I'm like, we've got something special here, guys. I mean, I'm used to selling essential services, commodities, cheapest priced wins, there was no emotional attachment to any of that stuff. It was just like a race to the bottom price wise. This stuff was special and unique and people became emotionally attached to it. I thought, we are going to become billionaires. I'm like, this stuff's like incredible, right? So I tell you what, I've worked like crazy and built up a huge business in Zija and became one of the top 5 money earners in the whole world with the company, which isn't saying a lot. It was a small company, but all of a sudden we get this call one day and there's this real pretty blonde lady and this handsome dark, it's like Barbie and Ken on this Zoom, and it's Jim and Kathy Coover. I wouldn't know them from Adam, right? And they're like, hey, we're the owners of Isogenics and we're buying you guys tomorrow. I'm like, what? I'm like, say what? So I'm like, what's Isogenics? So I start looking up, I'm like, oh my God, shakes. Like, what the heck? Right? What is this? Right? So I'm like, okay, Dr. Plant, at least I know Dr. Plant's legit. I didn't know anything. It's like, who moved my cheese, right? So I started looking at Isogenics and started seeing what they wanted to do and the evolution that was taking place. And there was this collagen coming, all these cool things. I thought, but then I saw the comp plan. I'm like, oh my God, man, this comp plan, I'll tell you what, Lauren, we were like, I don't mean to be crude here, but I feel like I was an abused foster child in the Zija compensation plan. And then Isogenics is like my forever folks, like they cook dinner every night and like the house is clean and they love me. And like, I'm like, oh my God. So Isogenics is like awesome compared to what we were doing. We were like, we always talk. Can you imagine if we started Isogenics 10 years ago instead of the Zija thing, like where we'd be? Like, oh man, because of this comp plan, like it's ridiculous, So anyway, we're so happy to be here and so excited and really looking forward to taking Isogenics from where it was, the shake thing, to the multi-billion-dollar well-being behemoth it's destined to be. So we know a bunch of people made piles of money in the shake journey. We missed that. So we're just excited to be here now for this next iteration in this big growth phase to multi-billion-dollar players. So that's where it was. That's where it is, Lauren.
Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Hopefully you can see the chat here. People are just eating up all the stuff that you're saying. And I love that you just said that. A couple of weeks ago, we had Erica Hess on as a guest speaker. She's Janet Elo's daughter. She's been around for like 15 years. And we were just saying the wave, the momentum, the growth, the excitement you know, have that 2012 kind of energy. And Jess and I joined shortly right after that. We'd heard about that, you know, and all of these millionaires that came out in the momentum. And you know, even I was watching Mike Mallory's stories today, blown away at the amount of events, like associate run events, super Saturdays, like we're in it, like people that are like ready for it and see it. I mean, they are going. Joel has an event, we have an event, Casey Tom's got a couple events, and you can just see it. I saw Brandy had an event, and it's just, I mean, if you're not getting the messages that like this is the season, like I love that you just brought that up. So you answered some of the questions, but I'm gonna ask you this next question because you kind of led into it anyways, but obviously you didn't naturally seek out Isogenics. Like many of us came for the business where we fell in love with the product and wanted to share because Dijo was acquired. But now that you're here, you know, now that this is your forever home, happy dinner family type of company, what are some of the things outside of the comp plan, which you've alluded to, that you love about this company, that this is your forever home, that you're not looking anywhere else, that been in the industry so long that you know that what we have is the golden ticket?
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple things, right? Like everything that I'd done prior to this, like my first company, they made it to $1 billion and then the balloon popped and all that. But I got in that thing, I want to say like 5 years into it. So it was not new, but it wasn't old and whatever. But it was a service thing, you know? So like people say, oh, you don't want to do a thing with products. Guys, technology is always changing. And one thing I've learned is most any of these service-based things or some magical gadget, you know, some biofeedback buzzer, whatever, stuff evolves and changes. And what's good today isn't going to be good 5 years from now, 3 years from now. I mean, I was selling long distance phone service, right? In 1995, when I joined my first company, guys, nobody even has a home phone these days, like nobody, right? So it just shows you how this, but what I love about this, guys, and all the companies that you look at out there, really the big time successful ones are nutritional based. I mean, like, you know, literally, right? It's either healthy home or vitamins or like essential oils, health, whatever. And guys, that's what I love about this is we've got that kind of thing, right? Like we're into that. And I love it because we can meet people through humanity and help them. So I love that we're in the health and wellness space. It's become my passion. I always tell people health is your wealth, right? You can make money doing anything. I mean, hey, you want to go be a realtor, go be the top realtor. You want to be a this or that, go be the top, whatever. You can go be the top of whatever you want to be and make all the money you want to make, whatever. Isogenics is an option for me because I love that we get to make a difference, right? Very rarely can you make money and make a difference in people's lives and meet them at their humanity. And that's what we get to do every day. We get to help people, man. And some people don't want to be helped. And you know, we've got the heart to help people, and you got to quit chasing people around that don't want to be helped, guys and gals. Some people are just red brick dumb, with all due respect, right? And until they get hit with the divine 2x4 and they're sick, or they're oh my God, I've got a disease, or now they're all interested in what you're doing, right? But don't chase people, guys. You know, Granddaddy said, kiss the girls leaning towards you, right? And there's a lot of ladies on this call, kiss the fellas leaning towards you, right? So, you know, take a clue. So guys, all we can do is just show people. And the ones that where it falls on fertile ground, we can pick those people up and start to help them and love them and encourage them and build with them and all that stuff. So I love the fact that we're into health and wellness. Number two, I love the fact that it's a 20-year-old company, right? This company's got chops, man. They've got 2 decades to stand on of solid, like, hey, they've done some stuff. Like they've done some stuff, right? Big stuff. They're very accomplished in the space of nutritional cleansing and weight management shakes, and, you know, kind of what they were for 20 years and what they were very successful at initially, right? So, and I love that the management team is willing to adapt and innovate. These guys are super progressive, right? They're like, I mean, you can see it already. Just all the stuff they talked about a couple of years ago. Hey, we're going to be Isogenics 2.0 and the packaging and the shipping and the programs and the scientific evolution of products and blah, blah, blah. Guys, that's all that's happening around us, right? It's evolving right now. The time is now. The only crazy thing we've been dealing with for a few years is this, like, you know, Zoom environment, because this doggone global pandemic thing that we all were unfortunately involved in, right? So I think people are just comfortable, Lauren, getting back out of their houses and congregating and starting to get back out. I mean, like I've told people, you know, I've gone to meetings, more than one, where I've seen people in the community that come to an event, they haven't been out for a while, they see some girlfriends, some people, and they're hugging them, crying in joy, like tears of joy that they get to see their people again, their tribe, their community. Guys, we are humans. We are meant to be together, right? And we haven't been able to do that for a while because of circumstance. So it's just exciting to get back out and It's like we've been trying to do isogenics with one hand tied behind our back, right? With all this new stuff, as good as it is, we were a little bit throttled. So now we have no speed limit. There's no cops. Hammer down, right? It's game time, man. So that, I mean, there's just so many good things about this. But really, I think the most important thing for me, kind of on the outside looking in, is the culture, the people. This is a wonderful company, Lauren. I mean, everyone I've met is awesome. And in other companies that I was with, it was real tribal, and my team and their team, and nobody worked together. It was like a bunch of bullies on a playground or something with huge egos that all thought they were better than everybody else. Just insanity, right? What I love about this company is everybody's cool and everybody collaborates and works together, and nobody's too cool for school, right? It's a great culture. It's like a super good culture. And it's honestly a self-cleansing culture. If some crazy person comes in, thinks they're all that in a bag of chips, they probably won't last here too long because they will cleanse themselves out. They don't fit the culture. So I love it. We're good people and we attract good people and we get to build people into great people. It's just a super awesome place to be, Lauren.
Oh my gosh, I love that word. That's so comfy. And we have been here long enough. I'm sure Jess immediately thought of a couple names. I did as soon as you said that. We watched some people come in. I was like, something about this shoe does not belong in this situation. And they went right on, kind of somewhere else. So one of the things that you kind of started to bring up, which I wanted to ask you about when you were talking about events, and I love you said it was like one hand tied behind your back. I did my first in-person opportunity meeting, you guys, last week. And I honestly think it was the first one since 2020. And my mom was there. She used to come every Wednesday. We did Wind Down Wednesday every week. And I was like, I don't think I've done a presentation, like just the business presentation, people coming, with the slides, all for the opportunity. Because you guys know my dad died before the pandemic, and then the pandemic and blah, blah, blah. And then we were doing all the sipping samples, like the collagen parties. There are different ways that we were kind of like, well, don't just come to the business. Let's just get people together in like a fun environment. I've done the Botox thing or, whatever was happening, but not actually an opportunity meeting. And I love that you're saying that. It's true. People want to be together, but there are people who came who joined us a year ago or 2 years ago. And I was like, come to Wind Down Wednesday. And they were talking to me like I wasn't speaking Latin. They're like, what is Wind Down Wednesday? And all of our veterans, have been coming for years and years. We're like, what? You're doing Wind Down Wednesday again, And it was just interesting to see this kind of disconnect of people who have been in for so long and the people that came in past COVID. But it was that excitement to just walk in a room and hear the stories and see the energy. So I love your chatting about that. But I wanted to ask you, how do you specifically promote events? I mean, I know you pack living rooms, you pack Super Saturdays, you're talking about, matching the commissions with paid to party. There's a lot of people on this call that want to do in-homes, they want to do mini Super Saturdays, and they're like, we got to learn from Joel. How's he packing the room?
Yeah, so, you've got to always be promoting. This is a promotion business, honestly. It really is. And who do you promote to, right? You promote to your team, and you get your team, right? We're only as good as our weakest link, right? So we've got there's power in numbers, right? So if you can promote to your team and, PT Barnum, right? Greatest show on earth, greatest show on earth, greatest. Every time I do anything or have any event or I'm going to any event I'm going to is the greatest show on earth. Always. Because guys, I know that an event can impact somebody. It was an event that changed my life, guys. I wouldn't be here today and have had the success I've had and the opportunity, thank God, that we have now with Isogenics. If I wouldn't have attended an event, I would have quit. Like everybody who doesn't attend events quits, right? Because it's the only opportunity to get your flame lit, Lauren. So it's really, really key that you encourage. Now, I don't want to say push, right? But there's a borderline between being annoying and being, persistent, right? So you want to be encouraging and constantly encourage your people to attend whatever you're having. It's critical. And I'm telling you guys, you'll never have anybody upset at you ever for showing up to an event, unless it's a terrible event. I mean, that's possible, but you'll never, ever have any, gosh, I hated Celebration. I'm so sad that you made me go. I'm not going to be your friend anymore. Like that'll never happen to you, right? I can't believe you made me go to UIA. David Wood's a lunatic. Like never happened to you, right? Like it'll never happen to you. So it's really, really, because they don't know, guys, none of us know what we don't know. Like I went to my first UIA and I was like, okay, Tony Robbins, walk on coals. Like, what are we doing here? Fruit Loop Factory, right? I didn't know, that's not my jam. I don't get into that kind of stuff, probably because I'm a dude. I don't know. But I went and I got my world rocked. Like that's where I met Laura Laurie. That's the first place I met Laura Laurie. And I'm sitting there gazing into her eyes. We're like holding hands, telling each other about our dreams and goals. And I was like, No, you stop crying. No, you stop crying. Like it was awesome, right? Like you'll never experience that, guys, if you don't go, and you won't know the power of it to tell someone else that they need to go, right? So it's incumbent upon us that we show up and we encourage as many people to show up as they can. The other thing we need to do is be kind of trailblazers, facilitators for others, right, Lauren? So I remember, man, the first several years, and even now sometimes in this business, I go to a place, I've got other guys going, they can't afford a hotel, maybe they're not making a lot of income yet. Well, we're all sleeping in a room together, bunking up, man. I mean, we're driving there in my car, my gas, whatever. Guys, winners find a way to win, right? If you want to win in this business, never attend an event alone. Fill your car, figure out plane tickets, do some splitsies with people, do whatever. Whatever. Winners find a way to win. Losers lose, right? Winners find a way to win, guys. And winners lose no matter what, guys. Winners lose on a muddy field. Winners lose in the best winners win in the best conditions. Winners win, right? And I'm not saying this is about winning or losing, but if you want the title to your life, the keys to your life, if you want to own your life free and clear and not be a slave to jobs and income and blah, 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 the hamster wheel, guys, you want to win, you've got to figure out how to, right? And you're going to do that by getting yourself and your people to events. It is absolutely mission critical to get them there, Lauren. And how do you get them there? By any means necessary, right? Throw them in your car, pay for their hotel room, pay for their ticket, pick them up, buy them lunch, whatever, right? Winners find a way to win. And we got to get people to these events so people have that opportunity to light up for themselves, catch that belief for themselves, Lauren. It's exhausting being everybody's cheerleader all the time, right? I'm telling you, that's all we do here. We're everybody's belief system, everybody's cheerleader until they pick up that belief system and become that on their own. And it's only going to happen by attending events. So events are it, guys. That is like it, period.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. We were just talking about this, a funny story a couple weeks ago, so I won't say the whole thing, but I had been to an event just 2 months before Jessica's first event, and Janny had mentored both of us. And Janny couldn't get her to go. Jess was like, I've got this, I got that, whatever. And Janny called me, you guys have heard this. And she was like, I will buy you anything you want from Lululemon if you get her there. And I was so highly motivated. Brooke is a joke nutritionist. This was 2013. I was like, anything? And she's sending me pictures of the catalog. She's like, how about this? How about this? And Janny is dripping the carrot in front of me. And I was obsessed. And I would have driven to Philly and then brought her all the way back to Texas for the event to get the Lululemon hoodies. But I love your saying you got to kidnap people and put them in the car. What about your in-home events? What about all these paid to party, all the, getting your customers to share? How are you really getting your associates to level up and host a launch party or promote, invite people?
Okay, yeah, that's good too. So I just got done doing that. I came back from a week. I was up in Oregon and Washington State, and I'll doing this stuff, the small in-homes side of a little organic restaurant, blah, 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 right? So what we did, and guys, keep in mind, this is if you're driving from the other side of town or whatever, right? So Lauren's the hostess. She's hosting the party. She's calling all her homegirls like, hey, Ann, you got to be there. There's this goofy guy, Joel, coming. He's so cool. He knows everything about these products. I'm so excited about these. You got to come. You got to be there, right? This guy's coming all the way from the other side of town. I really want to make a good impression. And I don't care if you buy. I don't care if you join. I don't care any about that. I just need you to be a butt in the seat, Ann. Do me a solid. Be there, sister girl. I need you, right? So that's kind of how you do it, guys. You put it on them and tell them you need them to be there. Because no one's interested in coming to your party. No one's interested in our products. No one's interested in any of this stuff, guaranteed. But leverage your relationship with them, right? Give them the friend nudge and tell them, hey, I need you there. And guys, that's the thing. I was actually talking to a guy the other day. He goes, you know what? 90% of this business is relationships. The other 10% is all this stuff, X's and O's and business and what do you say and what do you do? Guys, if you've got good relationships with people, I believe Isagenix pays you for the life you've lived. Right? If people trust you and you've got a good name in your community and you haven't screwed and tattooed everybody you know, right? People are going to come to your party, right? They're going to show up for you, not because the elixir's so swell or whatever. They'll find all that out when they get there, right? You need to leverage your relationships, guys. Put it on them. Tell them to be at your party. You're counting on them, right? And this isn't done through text. It's not done through DMs. It's not done through Evite groups. That's all tertiary and after the fact. It's done by you picking up the phone and calling Lauren and going, hey, sister girl, can I count on you? Because if she tells me yep, I'll be there, Joel. My husband and I are coming, dude. There's no way she can't not now because she told me. Guys, if you tell somebody something, you said it, right? You've got to show up now. It's a fact. So all this other stuff, and I'm sending texts and we're in group invites and stuff, that's all good for after the fact or whatever. but nothing beats the call, guys. That person to person, hey, you gonna? Yeah, I'm gonna. That's a deal, man. That's like as good as a handshake, right? Like that's legit stuff. So the other thing that we'll do, Lauren, is we'll assign them tasks sometimes, right? So if I'm inviting to my party, I might have Ann bring the ice and Lauren's bringing the solo cups and so is going to bring this or napkins or whatever. We're not doing a full spread. We're going to have some nibbles and stuff, right? But I'm going to have somebody bring a bunch of little junk. And now Ann's, man, I got to go to Joel's stupid thing. I told him I'd bring the case of spring water. Oh my God, it's like an albatross. Like she has to show up because Ann's the spring water person. Like, good God forbid Ann doesn't show, we're wrecked, right? You know. So if you assign people these little tasks, I had one guy, we had a party for one guy. He told everyone to bring a bag of ice. This guy had like 30 bags of ice outside on his porch, melting in the hot Texas sun, man. He's like, dude, I can't remember who I told to bring the ice. Everybody brought ice, but everybody showed up. Right. So those are things you can do. Maybe make it a potluck. Hey, Ann, you bring the Jello, and Lauren, you bring the Ritz crackers or whatever, you know, I don't know. So, but if you give them something to do, they'll definitely have more of an impetus to show.
Oh my gosh, I love that. You guys, and think about that outside of the food too. Emily Sutherland and I do a lot of events together. We kind of alternate, like who brings the samples, who brings the display, you know, like that type of stuff. And it really is true with the accountability. I love that leveraging your friendship, and it's true, you guys. And I want to reiterate something that Joel said. Highlight the speaker. If you have a leader, if you have an expert who's traveling to come or do the event with you, sell the mess out of them. You know, when I could get Janny on a call or Janny was going to be with me, I was like, you guys, and I listed any accolade I can use, from like, she's married to an NFL player, I can get you an NBA player, and I'll get you a signature. So like, you know, she's been successful or whatever that may be. Whatever, you know, to get butts in the seat, you know. And I know people have done that with my background. I'm a nutritionist. Casey Tom's background, she's a nutritionist. Jessica, she's number 10 in income, or the company number 10 income earner, like whatever that is. But really, if you have a speaker, if you have them, like we're so lucky to have them and whoever they are, people will come for that. And I just wanted to say one other thing, because everything Joel said is great, but we can learn different ideas. I like to incentivize people. So like to get my team there, because having powerful stories in the room, people who are already on the product and success stories. So we're picking on you, Ann, but I would be like, girl, you light up the room. And I was like, I will get you a gift card to anywhere you want. Just come show up. You know what I mean? Or let's go to lunch and I'll go through your business and I'll help you, or something of that. Or I tell people like, hey, if you bring a guest, everyone that is entered, or anyone that brings a guest is going to be entered to win a massage gift certificate. Anybody who comes is entered to win that type of thing. And people will come, because you got to remember, they don't invest in themselves. People don't want to spend things on themselves, but they have the opportunity to win Lululemon, to win Nordstrom, to win $100. They're like, okay, I'll go to that thing for 2 hours. And then, like Joel said, your fire's lit. You get so inspired and you learn things, and it keeps the community together. They learn a new nugget that they can go talk to other people. So as important it is in getting new people there, you want to make sure you've got your leaders there too. You've got other team members there that keeps them inspired, keeps them learning, and people to kind of validate what we're doing. So Joel, Chess and I have huge teams. I know you know that. We've got people that joined us yesterday, and we've got people that have been on these calls for 9.5 years with us. So we're kind of asking questions that are going to, you know, reach a lot of different people. So this next one is a little bit more for experienced leaders, or maybe more mature leaders. But what are you doing to really drive the line in your business, you know, to incentivize your other leaders, to get people to rank advance together, or get other leaders to really step up, that you're not the one doing it all?
Yeah, so I mean, well, you know, we're measuring a few key things, right? Like obviously rank advancements are important, enrollments are important. I mean, those are kind of the number one and number two things we need to focus on, but recognizing those accomplishments more so than anything is something we're really focused on. So like, for instance, like in a given month, like anybody that gets 2 is a beginner builder, they get a $50 coupon. Guys, could you imagine if everyone on your team was enrolling 2 a month, was in that cadence of exposing and bringing on 2 new orders a month? Katie, bar the door, man, that would be game over, right? So, but really, who can do that? Anyone, right? Anyone can get 2 people. Not everybody's going to go out and become an executive in 30 days or do this or do that or blah, 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 right? But anybody can get 2 a month. And it's kind of like that, you know, like that little drop of water that drops on that stone for years and years and years, Lauren. Pretty soon it goes right through the stone. You know, it's like that consistency, guys, beats everything, right? It's like everything's about consistency. So if you can get somebody in the habit of enrolling 2, and then that next level is level 5, right? Enroll 5, you're a expert team builder now, and you get 150 in cash coupons. Guys, we really leverage the crap out of that. When we joined this company, we're like, oh my gosh, they will give you free stuff if you get 2 or 5. And then of course that wore off a little bit, unfortunately, for our team, because it was the same stuff over and over and over again. I have like 3,000 tubs of the amps hydrate, whatever that, I mean, like all that stuff, right? Which is good. I'm grateful for it. I'd give it away and use it. But now when I can get anything I want every month, and I've got 3 women in my house that use this stuff like it's going out of style, like I love that extra 150 bananas a month because it's like free product, right? And I can get whatever. I can get all my Sell It Swat cashmere creams and all my fancy schmants. Like I can buy all that and it's the cost is 0. So I would encourage people to hashtag strive for 5 each and every month, guys, because that's 150 bananas, man. Guys, if it's you and your spouse, your order's 150 bucks. You're going and getting 5. You're also being compensated 20% for that. But guys, that $150 means your spouse is free, right? So you say, hey, I only pay for my order and I make all this money and stuff like that. And my spouse's is free every month just because we meet a real simple metric, right? So we're really looking at the 2 and 5 and making that kind of a key metric to recognize people with and for folks to focus on. Of course, guys, if we're enrolling people, we're identifying opportunities to upgrade associates and rank advance people, guys and gals. It's inevitable. If you enroll people, and you're doing your thing and enrolling people, there are going to be opportunities for you all day long to upgrade their thinking, right? To convert them to associate and help them get there too, so they can get their product paid for and start leveraging the comp plan, and then reaching around to their new 2 and seeing if those 2 want to get 2, and, you know, building depth and so forth, right? So it all starts with level 1, recruiting yourself, right? I'm recruiting, you're recruiting, we're all recruiting, and then looking for opportunities to upgrade to associate, right? Help somebody get there too. Create consultants. Guys, consultants make managers and executives and directors and all that stuff, right? So, but it all starts with enrollments, guys, that, you know, people aren't going to enroll themselves. We've got to get out there and open our mouth and expose people and share the product, share what we're doing to people throughout the day, people we know, and then people we come to know as we meet new people, which we do inevitably each and every day. But I'll tell you guys, I think the number 1 mistake that I see people make, and I mean, I've made it before, is you stop enrolling, right? Like I've reached points in my business where I'm like, oh, I'm making a bunch of money and I'm going to coach now. Like I'm going to be a coach and just tell everybody what to do. And man, my income dries up quicker. I mean, like quick, right? Because I stopped doing the do. I stopped enrolling. I stopped bringing in those new people. I'm the expert now and help. Oh, I'm too busy to enroll people. I got to help everybody. Guys, you know, 80% of your time, my time in this business, should be enrolling personal people. 20% of your time should be helping. And there'll be a point when that'll switch and it'll be like you're like Jessica Riegner, right? And I'm sure Jessica still enrolls or Lauren still enrolls 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 a month. I mean, they're always enrolling, right? But, you know, that's what we get paid to do, but they're still able to help and all that stuff. But you're never too cool. You're never too good to stop enrolling. And I was in England like 3 weeks ago doing some of this stuff over there in England, and they got the Swiss Alps in Europe, right? So I asked all these ladies, I said, have y'all been to the Swiss Alps? A bunch of them had been there skiing. I'm like, imagine yourself standing on the Swiss Alps at the top of one of those mountains, right? Giant sheer face of snow, you know, just like thousands of, like crazy, right? And I said, you have the power to create an avalanche, like take off the whole face of that mountain, right? But it's going to come from how many times you kick the snow. You kick once, take a couple steps, kick another, take a couple steps, kick. Guys, our kicking is our enrolling. I've been to UIAs, right? And I've noticed that the average top money earner in Isogenics has enrolled about 500 people personally over 7 to 10 years. That's typically everybody's run rate, guys. It's about 3 to 5 a month that they've enrolled personally over a 7 to 10 year period. And they found that right person, that boom, avalanche took off the side of the mountain, right? But you'll never know, or you'll never find that person if you quit kicking. So it's incumbent upon us to continue to kick, continue to enroll, Lauren. That's really the key. And when you find those magical things that happen and your business explodes, you're going to be an expert. Everybody's going to say, how'd you do it? You just stayed consistent and you kept kicking. And you'll tell them, hey, I really didn't do anything special. I just kept kicking. Really? Yep. That's all we do, guys. This thing's goofy proof, you know, but it's not going to work for you and I if we don't continue to kick. We got to keep kicking. And you'll find that person, that guy or gal that'll change your life.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. I hope you guys are writing those down, just that consistency in the average leader, because I would second to that being true. Now, there are obviously people who've come in much faster. Maybe they came from another company, they're more seasoned. Sure, we have seen people become millionaire in a year. You know, Glenn Hagthorne did it. That is on the rare side. But if you're looking at the overall top 100, top 200, I actually think Joel's numbers are spot on. And you can look at the top leader in action. You know, when you see some of that stuff, you can see who's doing it just because their income is there and who's still really in the trenches and doing that. I think that's phenomenal advice. So I have two last questions for you, and we're gonna let you go. Thank you so much for being here on a Monday night. But what's your best advice for someone brand new? Like someone just comes in and they're like, okay, it's my time. I sat on the sidelines for the last 2 years, or I've never done this, you know, whatever that may be. They're like, show me how to go fast. Show me how to make a ton of money. Like, what do you do with some brand new hot molecule?
Yeah, for sure. So like if you're new and you're excited and you want, find your knowledgeable upline, right? Find that guy or gal above you that knows what the heck they're doing and is making money. Every direct selling company that I've signed up in until Zija, the people above me were like, you know, screwballs, right? They didn't have a clue. So I had to go above that person and find my knowledgeable upline that knew what they were doing. And finally, when I found that person, I was able to like get some direction, right? Like get some coaching, if you will, right? So it's really important that we find the people above us that are doing it and then just simply do what they do, right? And we got to be coachable. We got to be open. We got to be willing to follow systems. Guys, you know, everybody's, oh, I'm going to go run ads on QVC. You're going to die broke, right? I'm going to go run ads in the newspaper. I'm going to go pass out flyers all over town, right? Like, guys, if that was what we'd all be doing that tonight. We'd be out putting flyers out in Walmart parking lots on windshields if that's what worked. But that doesn't work, right? So you've got to be willing to be coachable and not reinvent the wheel. That's so many people are well-intended but ill-advised, right? Do not reinvent the wheel, period. Be coachable. Number two, you got to follow the comp plan, guys and gals. I mean, there is nothing more important in our business than simply just following the compensation plan. It's a plan and it's there for a reason, right? So people always come up to me and say, oh man, I'm gonna be like, Jessica Riegner. I'm going to be, whatever, Jimmy Smith. I'm okay. Like, that's great. I love that. Do you have your 2 people yet? No. Okay. Well, let's start there, right? Let's get your first 2, get you to consultant. We got to simply take the next step. There's a Martin Luther King quote that I love. He said, everybody wants to get to the top of the staircase and see the grandeur of whatever's there. But the best thing to do is simply take the next step, right? That's so pragmatic. That's an excellent bullet point, right? So if you're a consultant, you need to be focused like a laser on manager. If you're manager, you need to focus forward on director. If you're director, executive. If you're executive, you need to focus on 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4-star, focus like a laser on helping others get to executive. That's really once you're at executive, that'll make you the stars and all that stuff, right? So that's all there is to it, guys. Sometimes we get in our own head and we second guess ourselves and we get thinking and contemplating and all that stuff. There's an old saying, doubt will take you out of action, and it's easy to doubt ourselves. It's easy to doubt our abilities. We're always going to doubt, right? But action will take you out of doubt. Doubt will take you out of action, but action will take you out of doubt, guys. There's nothing more exciting than sponsoring a new guy or a new gal, and they're all excited and signing people up, and it's like having a brand new baby. Everybody's excited and ooey goo, 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 like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because of that new baby, that new distributor, right? But if you're not giving birth, guys, if you're sitting around trying to raise the dead on your team, you are going to be a depressed individual, right? So you need to be out and giving birth and sponsoring new people, having new babies instead of sitting around trying to raise the dead, man. You say, I'm going to get her to executive if it kills me. You're probably going to die. You know what I mean? Like, you got to go give birth, man. That's really the key thing here. So those are just a couple things that I'm telling you over 30 years, mistakes I've made and things that'll serve you well, Lauren.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. You guys have all heard Jess say, we don't need to give CPR at the morgue. It's true. You guys can go back to them over and over, and it's so much better when someone new just comes in, and ignorance on fire is way better than what you're talking about. You say you'd be dead if you're trying to work with that person. So my last question is the complete opposite. And then anything you just want to close with that's just going to leave people fired up. A lot of these people are on the East Coast. They're yawning, that I always wanted them to be so fired up at the end of the call that they stay up an extra hour because they can't stop thinking about their dreams and goals and where they're headed. But to the complete opposite, what do you say to the seasoned person? What do you say to someone who's comfortable? What do you say that they're like, I've been in it a while, I'm probably always just going to cycle 10 times a week, or, like that type of thing? What is it that you would say to that individual? And then anything you want to close with tonight?
Yeah, so to seasoned people, it's kind of like I'll never forget this. I actually reached a point in my direct selling career a long time ago, like 15 years ago. I got into a pretty good income mark. I was making $50,000 a month in my company. And that at the time seemed like a lot of money. Like it was like a lot of money. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's crazy, right? And the owner of that company actually came to me one day and he goes, hey man, he's like, Joel, how long do you want to go on making 50 grand a month? Like you're way better than this. Like, what are you settling for, kind of thing? And I was like, man, that like lit a fire under me. Like I never really thought about it because I started to kind of get comfortable and started to get, my business was a little predictable and all that stuff. It was kind of like, I don't want to say it was on autopilot, but I kind of knew what was going on, right? And I just thought, guys, you are here for a reason. I am here for a reason, right? I've been doing this stuff 30 years. Sure, I've made a bunch of money. We've had all this kinds of success and whatever, but whatever, right? Like I feel for me, and I don't know about you, but I feel for me, guys, this is my chance to fulfill my legacy, to see what I'm made of, guys, to see what you're made of, right? Like God made us, right? Like he didn't make junk. Like I believe we're children of the Most High God. Like we're not accidents, right? And our success could be intentional if we go out and think it so, right? There's an old thing, what we think about, we bring about, right? So I believe, guys, I believe you're made for greatness. Like I believe I'm made for greatness. I've just never had that opportunity to see how great I could be. And I'm not saying me, like I'm so great, but what I could really do, what impact I could really have, how big I could really build it, And that's the opportunity that we've got right now in Isogenics, guys. I mean, what Jim and Kathy started 20 years ago and the success that's been had, there's a group of people that are done for life. They're set. They've made huge impacts. They've contributed. Jimmy, I think of Jimmy Smith, that guy's a gangster. He's contributed in an unbelievable way to people's lives, right? And he'll probably keep talking and doing until the good Lord takes him, right? That's just the kind of guy he is. So for me, guys, I believe that we have an opportunity here to go all the way, to build something huge, to build an empire, to be part of a multi-billion-dollar legacy company that truly impacts the global health scene. And I'm all in, man. This is what I signed up for. It just took me 27 years of fiddling around with a bunch of garbage to find this thing, right? Moses wandered around the desert for 40 years. It only took me 27 years of meandering around in the wasteland of MLM, right? So this is a solid thing, guys. This is going to be a beautiful deal. And if you're cool 10 cycles a week, you're cool. There's nothing I can say or do, nothing anybody can say or do to change your tune, because you're good, you're cool. But if you've got that little like spark inside you that believes you're called for something greater, you could do more, be more, have more, give more, right? This is your opportunity to do it, guys. More importantly, this is the time to do it. The timing in this company is absolutely unbelievable. And I mean, there's going to be we're basically pioneers of the second generation of Isogenics. And, typically if you study companies like this, guys, the top earners don't even come in till after the 13th year. Well, newsflash, we're after the 13th year. Theoretically, the number one earner of all time in Isogenics hasn't even come into Isogenics yet. You don't even know who they are, right? I don't know who they are. But here's the thing, you want them in your downline, right? There's an old saying, country western song, should have asked her faster, right? Somebody else done signed her up, right? So guys, make sure you're talking to the people in your community and your friends and family and exposing what we've got here, because you don't want them coming to you going, hey, I just signed up in this Isogenics thing, and you're like some secret agent and didn't tell them about it. Right? Make sure you tell the people you love and care about this, guys. Get over yourself. I got to get over myself some days. Like, get over it and talk to people. Use your mouth, right? But guys, I'm telling you, if you really want something here, the here is here.
Well, with that, you guys, if you can use the microphone emoji, put some mics in here, put your little like confetti little emojis up, because that was amazing. The here is here, and I'm going to wrap with that. You guys, please put some exclamation points, microphones in the chat. Like, give Joel some love that he's, it's later in Texas where he is. He's, been on calls, been traveling, been to Europe, been all over to volunteer his time on a Monday night to light us up. And Joel, if there's anything Jeff or I can do to return the favor, anybody on our team to help you, don't even hesitate to reach out. We believe in the one team model, and we are so, so grateful for your wisdom, your humor, your joy, everything you did. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful night. We'll see you in a week. Crystal Manager. Woo-hoo. Bye, guys.